Hi Capricorn, and welcome to your October 2023 horoscope. October is eclipse season. I feel like you're dreading it already. But come on, we got this. Positive attitude forward. Hopefully with this video, I will help you with feeling a little bit more comfortable about the eclipse season ahead. However, if after the video you still want a little bit more support, you want to sit down with me and really look at your specific chart and how the eclipses are affecting it, then I wanted to let you know that I have my books open. I have spots open for 30-minute personal eclipse readings. The booking link is down in the description box. We start off the month on October 2nd with a bang. Mars is conjunct the South Node in your 10th house, sextiling Venus in your 8th house. You have a tendency to not speak up in your career. You have a tendency, or you prefer, I should say, to show an image of a stable, beautiful, harmonic Capricorn out to the rest of the world. However, in October, you are challenged to go beyond that. You are being asked to step into what you're truly feeling, even if those feelings are angry and more passionate and something that will disrupt this illusion that you've built of yourself with the rest of the world. You have done a deep re-examining of all of the things that you find taboo during the summer. Venus has been in Leo the whole summer in your 8th house. So you've really had a nice big lesson as to what you deem as the parts of you that you must hide, that you cannot show to others or speak to others about. Take these lessons that you learned during the summer, integrate them into this eclipse season. Later in the month, Mars moves away from the South Node and gets into the final degrees of Libra. As it does that, it squares Pluto in your 1st house. During the same time, between the 8th and the 10th, we have Venus finally leaving your 8th house and entering your 9th. As it does that, it starts to oppose Saturn in Pisces in your 3rd house. So the energies are intensifying, actually all the way up until the solar eclipse. So during the 8th and the 10th, there's a lot of squares, a lot of opposition, so it might still feel quite intense. One of the things that is coming up during this time, especially if you've begun to reconsider, hey, what is this actual illusion of a picture perfect Capricorn that I'm showing to others? If you are doing that work on the 8th to the 10th, you're actually also starting to reconsider, but wait, what does that mean about my identity? What does that actually mean about how I show up in the rest of the world? And there might be some old-fashioned habits or beliefs that you find around that, like, hey, I have to keep my brown hair and my boring clothes in order to maintain this illusion. See if there's anything old-fashioned about your identity that it's finally time to just completely get rid of. We see 2 new houses being brought into the conversation during this time, and that is the 3rd house and the 9th house. Venus is entering your 9th and Saturn is in your 3rd. You might find during this time that you are stepping a little bit more into some organizations, some institutions in order to learn and get the help that you need to really, truly become who you are meant to become. Saturn in your 3rd house is asking you to become a little bit more mature as when it comes to your exploration. It's time to stop exploring all of these different ideas of who you could be and what you could do, and to really just get honest with what you need and what you want. And I see during this time that you're getting some external help, some external input in order to help you get there even faster. And then before you know it, the big day is upon you. October 14th, we have a solar eclipse in Libra. So we have the Sun, Moon, Mercury, Mars, and the South Node in Libra in your 10th house. And this solar eclipse has pretty much the same themes as what we've been talking about earlier. And this is because it has the same aspects as what we've been talking about earlier. So the solar eclipse squares Pluto in your first and trines Saturn in your third. If you have been avoiding doing the work in the first half of the month, then the 14th is really gonna hit you out of nowhere. You can no longer deny it. You can no longer shove things under the carpet. You have to deal with them. Perhaps something will happen in your career, in your status, that really crumbles things down, that crumbles the illusion that you're trying to create, and finally shows people that actually there's a lot going deep inside. There are actually a lot of passions, a lot of anger, a lot of intuition that you have within you. And it's going to really force you to admit that to others as well, because you haven't been doing it yourself. This will have a huge implication on your identity. During the solar eclipse, you will be forced, again, if you haven't been doing the work and you've been avoiding it, you will be forced to really get rid of all of the old-fashioned ideas that you have about identity, about the way you have to show up to the rest of the world. The planets, after the solar eclipse, start to move away from the south node, and as the sun specifically does that, it's in the final degrees of Libra and it squares Pluto in your first house. Even though this is a square, I don't think it'll be such an intense day. For quite a few reasons, but one of the reasons why I say that is the sun moves quite fast, so this transit will be quite fast. Another reason why I say that is because we have a beautiful aspect, a trine between Venus and Jupiter on this day as well. Venus in your 9th house is trining Jupiter in your 5th house. I see this day as a beautiful opportunity for a reward. If you have done the hard work in the first half of the month, I do believe that Venus and Jupiter will reward you with something nice on the 21st. And for you specifically, this could be a feeling that you have more creativity, that you are all of a sudden feeling more pleasureful and happy and easygoing during just your day-to-day life, that you're starting to find pleasure in existing and being a human being. As the sun leaves Libra, it enters Scorpio, and the sun enters Scorpio on the 23rd. As it does that, it trines Saturn in Pisces in your 3rd house. So the second half of the month, with the sun entering Scorpio, there is a shift in your emphasis from the way that you show yourself to the rest of the world to what are actually my long-term goals and visions for the future. So you are a little bit less focused on how other people see me, and you're a little bit more focused as to what legacy do I want to leave behind? Where do I actually want to be in 10, 20, 30 years? And with Saturn going through your 3rd house of curiosity, of perceiving, of exploring, you might find that you are a little bit more mature now in the explorations, in the possibilities that you're considering for your long-term vision. Perhaps before you used to think, oh yeah, well, I can be Superman in 10 years. But with Saturn now in your 3rd house, the options are a lot more mature, a lot more grounded, and a lot more adult in a way. The next big event in October is on October 28th. On October 28th, we have a lunar eclipse in Taurus. We have the Sun, Mercury, and Mars in Scorpio in your 11th house. And they are opposing Jupiter and the Moon in your 5th house. There is an interesting balance for you during this lunar eclipse between focusing on your long-term vision and goals, and at the same time balancing out the day-to-day pleasures, the day-to-day fun, and exploration and joy. And as a Capricorn, you tend to be quite laser focused on the future. So try to find and strike a balance between these two during this lunar eclipse. Finally, we close off the month on the 31st with Venus trining Uranus. Venus in your 9th house is trining Uranus in your 5th. So we've already talked about this focus that you've had for a while in finding pleasures in everyday life. But during the end of the month, this theme will come back up again. You might find during this time that the things you are learning and gathering from the organizations you're part of or the institutions you're part of, that is actually allowing you and giving you new ideas as to how you can achieve more pleasure and joy in your everyday life. And it might be some sort of innovative way that you haven't thought of before up until this point. So that's all of October, Capricorn. Wow. I think you've got this. There is such a beautiful focus for you this month on how do you show yourself to the world. It's time to stop the illusion, stop showing this version of you to others that is not true, that is compromising on what you really want. Again, if you want extra support after watching this video, my books are open. I have slots for 30-minute personalized eclipse readings. The booking link is down below. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this horoscope. I do these every month. So if you want to make sure you catch the one in November, then make sure you subscribe. I hope to see you again soon.